Who's going for coffee? Who's going for coffee? So no one's going for coffee. Who's going for coffee?
All right, everybody, welcome back to Who's Going for Coffee. Took a little break. We had a great day at the Labor Day Parade last week, and here we're back. And with me today is my good friend and good brother, Brendan McCarrick. How you doing, pal?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Glad for you to come down. Got a bunch of things I want to talk to you about, but I like to start off always with, how you came to the trades. How did you come to decide, hey, man, this is the place for me?
So years ago, I'd always had a job. I was always working when I was younger, since I'm about 12 years old. Got a little older, more full-time work. Then I had a cousin that was a carpenter, and while I was bartending, he's like, "Oh, I'll get you in the carpenters." Time went on, a year, two, and it's not happening. And then somebody that I met, actually Dennis Steele, who used to run the pipe band, he said, "Well, what did you think about playing in, coming to the Elevators and playing in the pipe band?" Because I played a little bit when I was younger. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great, whatever. So that's what got my path over to Elevators, because before that, I would have never even thought. My cousin had started a little before me, Tom Lynch, who has since transferred down to 74. And I just, that was my path in. 2006 is when I started, and almost 20 years later now, I'm here.
So you're first generation McCarrick in the
I am, yep.
in the elevator trade, and you got your brother here too.
Yes.
So
Andrew.
You grabbed him by the ear and said, "This is the place to be, bro."
So the story with Andrew is he went to college. He finished college with a degree in finance and a minor in accounting, and he was working for. My dad works for this company. He's in computers, this consulting company, and Andrew had been working for the recruiting side of that company, and he was doing it for about 10 years. He ended up getting married, getting a house. His wife got pregnant. And he's like, "Oh, geez, I need some health benefits. I need, so he started thinking, and I had been telling him for years. And he's like, yeah, maybe. Finally, he started paying attention. He got in the recruitment, got a great number, ended up getting hired. He went to Schindler when he first started.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, and you've been part of these recruitments doing interviews, you see that age, 26, 27, 28, right? That's kind of like the average age, because they're running into this issue like your brother did. Holy smokes, I need some benefits. Like, you're not on mommy and daddy no more, and it's time. Right?
Yes. I mean, one thing I think I've done 3 recruitments with you now.
Yeah.
I've helped out with 3 of them. And the difference from the first one that I did, as far as the type of applicant we have, what the credentials are, the college education, not that you need it, but people are waking up to the trades and the benefits that come along with being part of the union trades.
So you see a different, you look at those 3 recruitments, so you see a different applicant from that first one to the last one that you
100%,
did? Really?
100%.
In what way?
So I remember the first one, you'd have more, guys that would come off to you as blue-collar guys right from the start, workers. They worked in contracting work, maybe another trade that they were working in, trying to make the switch. And then each recruitment I did since then was a little bit more guys with college degrees. Guys that were working in office jobs for years prior, guys that had been in office jobs for 10, 15 years that are just looking to make a change, and it speaks a lot. And also with COVID when it happened, and a lot of those office jobs, people lost their jobs, and that was the last recruitment right around that time.
Right after COVID, yeah. I think also too, it's seeing this change out there, people coming back to the trades. It kind of went away, and you've seen it go away in high schools with shop class and all that stuff, and I think you're right. I think that last recruit, you're starting to see people that spent all that money, got that degree, and they're like, this ain't for me, or this ain't working out, and my buddy or my neighbor or my friend, they're killing it in the trades, and that you start seeing. It's amazing to me, bro, that the educated people, the talented and educated people, not at 18 years old, at 27, 28, 30 years old, that are coming here willing to start over. Right. And you're like, holy mackerel, man. So it's a testament to what we have.
Yeah.
But it also is an eye opener to what's out there.
Right.
And what that college degree is getting you. You know, their entry level job after 4.5, 5 years in school is less than our first year apprentices are getting.
Right. So I went to college for about 2 years, and I went because I felt that I was supposed to do it. You know, my parents, they didn't really pressure, but my mom was a lot harder on me, get that college education.
What did you go for?
I started in business management and I switched over to marketing. And I was fine. My grades weren't bad. It was my attendance. And you would get to a certain point past 8 absences and you're supposed to automatically fail. And I was working full time at the time. I had, you know, I'd rather make the money. That's what my mother always said about me, is that I always like that immediate, having a job, you get a paycheck every week. Right. School is the long game. You know, you have to finish those years of school to get those paychecks and all that. And looking back now, if I could do it all over, I would. I had no thought of the trades or anything like that back when I was 18 years old. Right. If I could do it all over, I wish I would have known about it. Sure. You know, and that's part of. It was never brought to my attention. What we could do here, what NEIEP is trying to do, and the IUEC in general, is educate young people that this is a path for people. You know.
Yeah, you know, we try and do that. We go out, do outreach, right? That's what it's called. We got a recruitment coming up. I think the end of January, we're probably going to take applications. We're going to push it off a little bit because there's a big change to the way we're going to handle things with recruitment. But it's getting that message out to, and you know, I've probably said it on just about every episode so far, but the young kid out there is a lot more receptive to that message than before. Right. I've been to so many events where we just stand there and you see 1 or 2 people and it's like, man, what a waste of my 2 hours. And now it's different. You know, now people are coming over. And I went to one down in Jersey. It was in Freehold. Gigantic gym, and there were tables everywhere. And they put me in between the electricians and the plumbers. And man, we had people there. You know, people were coming over and they weren't just walking past us and, you know, just like, where that's what it used to be, right? It used to be, they used to, and I don't like them putting us together. You know, integrate us with everybody else, because when you put us together, it kind of sends that message. And it happened to me at I go to my high school, and the first time I did their career day, they put we had 5 trades, and they put us off to the side together. And it was like, that's where the plague is over there. Don't go there. And I'm like, you got to put me next to Hofstra, put me next to whatever, so that everybody walks past me and gives me an opportunity to talk to everybody. But at that event, we worked together. I was a little nervous about it, but we had a lot of people coming to us. So I think it's coming back. I think it's a great thing. And, you know, we're going to be kicking into high gear with outreach, you know, next couple of months, you know, me and Danny and anybody else that wants to get involved in that. But it's real good. So you got recruited from the band. And what I'm finding over these last bunch of years interacting with you guys is you guys are like great recruiters to people to come either, right? So Adrian was, you know, your great coach that came over, right? You guys recruited him. There's several guys that you guys recruited over.
So now it's become, you know, the band's been around 27 years now. Yeah.
What was the first year for the band? In the 1990s.
I think it was 1998.
Okay.
That was before my time.
Right.
A few years before my time, but started in 1998. I think by the time they got their first gig that they played at, it was probably a year after that. And it's so through those years too, I could even say with the band as far as changing is like, yeah, Tommy Ginty was one of the founding members of the band, and still to this day, Frankie Dolan is still in the band. He's one of the guys that's still remaining. Timmy Connors retired not long ago. Sean Kennedy just retired not long ago, and these are guys that were founding members. And to me, seeing them go, the first one to go since I've been in was Billy Madden, and that was, you know, it's a big change for us. You know, I'm seeing these guys going. And
Billy still he's still
yeah,
involved,
he still comes around. What's great to see now is the band's filling up again with guys that are able to play. They know that we have a band. They apply for the job through the recruitment, and they're getting in. We have in our band world-class, world champion bagpipers and drummers. And it just so happened...
And nobody knows that, right?
No. I mean, Lenny brings it up every so often. He likes bragging about us, but we have, you know, 3 or 4 guys in the band have won the world championship in Scotland with their other bands. That's crazy. So, yeah, and there's been a lot of work put into it. Like, I ran the band for about 10, 11 years. Before me was Jay Ginty. And you kind of treat it as something like you want to leave it a little better than how you picked it up. And not that it was bad before, but you just add your little piece to it.
Right.
And since then, I had done it long enough, and my responsibilities with the board takes up a lot of time, and I couldn't dedicate as much time to running the band. So it was time for me to step down, and Kevin McGeehan has taken over since then, and he's another one he's been huge about getting the word out to the guys that play in other pipe bands that this is a great job to have, and you can play in a pipe band, and we travel for events and stuff like that. So he's been excellent about getting the word out about our band.
Yeah, he's a great guy too. All you guys are great guys, but I tell you, we all brag about the band, right? We're like, this is like the crown jewel of, Local One in this pipe band, and going to all these events. We just had the parade. What are some other kind of events that you guys do? I know you have a little tour that you do in the spring, right? You got like, 5 or 6 stops that starts first one in East Islip on Long Island?
Yeah, it's usually East Islip, then White Plains. Well, we don't do White Plains anymore. Throgs Neck in the Bronx, Rockville Center, and Pearl River.
So that's kind of like your tour, and that's it. But you play in a whole bunch of other things, right?
Yeah, throughout the year. So it was a while ago now, but the first time that we traveled for a funeral for a brother that had fallen in Chicago, it was brother Craig Sebahar. Kevin McGeehan reached out to the guys because we had been there recently, and he reached out. He was like, "Listen, he died on the job," and he's like, "Well, we'd love to send some guys out to play," and that just started the phone calls coming in anytime there was a member that had passed away on the job, or picnics we play. We've gone down to Miami a number of times. We have a great relationship. We go to Philly a lot. We travel wherever we're asked. And it's nice so obviously the bagpipes get tied to funerals a lot of the time, a good majority of the time. And I get that phone call. I would get that phone call, "Hey brother, what's it going to take to get the band out here?" And my answer always is, "Don't worry about it. We'll get there. If you want to make a donation down the road, feel free. If you don't, not a big deal, whatever." But it was a matter of just getting out there and playing, being there for the members and the family of the brother or sister who might have passed. Years go on, and a lot of those are happening. I don't know if you remember back in 2019, 2020, there was a lot of construction deaths in general going on here in New York especially, but around the country. So we were getting a lot of calls. And when we would get calls for these fun occasions like picnics and the convention we do every 5 years and all that, it's like a breath of fresh air that we get to go and enjoy something where it's not got this black cloud over it, something happy that we could do.
That was one of the questions that was on my little sheet here, was the difference between doing the picnic, the convention, the 125th, going to Chicago, wherever, and then you're doing those funerals. Yeah. Clearly it's a different vibe in those two places. But how is it different for you guys when you go there? How is it? It's different, but how is it different?
So we go there. You go there in a respectful manner when you're playing a funeral. Everybody's a son. Myself and Pete Stanford one time had to travel down to Kentucky, and it was it's not a big local. I would say that every member of that local was at that event. Every eye in the house was crying. And you realize we come from a big membership of 3,000 members, where we all care about each other, and we don't ever want to hear anything bad happening. But you go to a small local like that, and it affects every single member, and it really hits home about the dangers of this job and how important we all are to each other. And you take from that what you need to. That's one experience you have is when you go around the country playing these funerals, is you feel that from those members. I didn't know that brother, but he is my brother. And you kind of just got to take that with you and remember it and use that on your everyday work day as well.
So did they know you were coming?
Yeah, they gave a call. Like that was one where we had a turnaround of, it was a day later, and
Right.
We get that phone call, and within 24 hours we're booking flights, hotel stay, whatever. I think myself and Pete, we got delayed on our flight. We had just made it there in time. We were in about 5 states in 16 hours and right back in New York. So.
So they knew you were coming.
Yeah.
And it was still a pretty awesome event, right?
Yes.
The impact you guys made and the feeling that you got back from the people that were there.
Yes.
But you also go unannounced as well. And I'm going to tell you something. In 2018, you showed up at my mother's unannounced. I had no idea you guys were coming. And when I tell you, I got goosebumps right now, bro. When I tell you the impact that you 3 guys made that day, coming unannounced, even if you were announced, but showing up, and it's my brother looks at me. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Sit back and watch, bro, because we're about to be, entertained and consoled, and all at the same moment." For those couple of minutes you guys played, it was what I remember from, that terrible day. Laying my mother down. You guys showing up, and it creates a lasting impression. Trust me, it does. So the times that you go announce, of course you got to go. People gonna expect you to go, but when you go unannounced and you show up at an event like that, man, it's something else.
Yeah,
it really is. You guys do an awesome job.
Yeah, a lot of times, we'll get a call from somebody that's friends with the family. They
Right.
might not speak to the family, and then the response we get from them is, "Thank you so much. We really appreciate it." And we'll see them years down the line, and they'll say, "That's what we remember," just like you're saying now.
Yeah.
And it's part of the family mentality that you have as union members.
Right.
So you have to be there for people in their time of need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. But circling back a little bit, so you played much earlier than you didn't learn to play here, right? So you played the pipes as a kid, or
I played a little bit in high school, and then I was graduating high school, and I was like, I had to give the bagpipes back, and that was it.
so that was like through high school, like in band. You said, "Hey, let me do the pipes," or
It was just they had a bagpipe club, and it was something I was interested in. So I played, and then once I graduated, I had to give them back. And actually, my brother went to the same high school as me. He got my old pipes, and he carried that into college where he played. I put him down and didn't play him from 18 years old till I was 22. When I came over here, and Dennis, who was the one that got me interested in coming over here and playing in the band, I was like, man, I got to learn the pipes fast again.
how long did it take you to pick it up, though? I mean, once you know how to play, you probably got the basics down, right?
Yeah, so I was, it was in my head. The basics were in there, and I remember the first year, because people ask me all the time, how long would it take me to get up going on the pipes? And I say, honestly, if you're not playing tunes on the pipes within a year, you're probably not making it, because we've had a lot of guys come and try it out, and it just doesn't work out. And it's not for everybody. It takes a lot of work and dedication when you're first learning. I remember my first year, I was kind of putzing around. I was at every practice. I didn't miss anything, but I wasn't practicing as much as shit on my own. And time was going on, and it was like, I was kind of slow to it. And I remember one day, Sean Kennedy said to me, he was like, "You know how to play. Stop messing around." I was like, okay. And I started really paying attention. And then Dennis Steele, who was running the band at the time, we were competing, so that gives you that incentive to practice more and play a little better. And he left the trade and moved on he went to the NYPD, which is something, his brother was there, and he decided for a career change from here. But getting in 20 years ago, Dennis was running the band, and I'm like, I would never have thought that I would be running the band one day. Jay Ginty took it after him. And then suddenly I'm called on to help with the band, and it's just the way things go.
So what do you think is the hardest part to learning? Like I've tried to take lessons and learn the guitar. I think, in my brain, I'm a rock star, but I can't sing a note or play a lick, right?
Yeah.
And whether or not I watch videos or I've taken some lessons, for me, the hard part is that chord progression, trying to go from one chord to another. I just can't make my fingers do that.
Yeah.
It takes me 10 minutes to go from a G to a C, and I get frustrated. What's the hardest part with the pipes?
With the pipes, there's so many aspects as you're learning. So you have a bag that you're squeezing, it's blowing, it's the notes. There's grace notes on top of the notes. That's all the ornamentation in between notes that the average ear wouldn't know what it is, but we'll hear it. And you're talking about there could be 7 grace notes in a half beat measure, which is a lot of movements with your fingers, and it just, as good as you get, you could always get better. You could be one of the best in the world. If you're not working at it constantly, you're going to fall behind. It's just the way it is. And like I said, initially, you really have to be practicing every single day for months and months and months. And then once you get your bass down, you could really, take off from there.
Right. It seems to me too that it's a little bit of a physical grind too. Like you're blowing into that thing.
You're blowing. You're walking long parades when we're doing parades. You're doing it in the cold. You're doing it in the heat. It's a lot.
It looks like a lot, but listen, you guys make it look easy, but I know it's not. And every every instrument carries its own unique challenge. A lot of people say, hey, learn a piano, you'll be able to play 7 other instruments, because a lot of the theory, like the music theory is the same, right? Like the notes and all that stuff. It's just physically, it's a different animal, right?
Yeah, it's like different from every other instrument. The Highland pipes are just different from every other instrument.
It is a unique instrument. So what do you, listen, you guys, what's like the normal introduction to the pipes for the guys? Like, is it like how you were maybe in high school, they were introduced to it, or what's like the normal way that somebody stumbles across getting into the pipes? We've
had members that come in and they're interested in playing. We typically get people interested in the drums because they think it's going to be easier to get into the drums. It's not. That's difficult also. We have guys that come in that have played in the past. They kind of just hop in. Some guys come in and played a little bit and they're good and they got the basics down, whatever, and it's just brushing them up or making them better. But we do have, for somebody that has no experience whatsoever, the band will bring in. We have free instruction on Tuesday nights here at the hall, and we provide. There's a practice chanter that's without blowing the bag. You just blow into the practice chanter. The band will provide that for whoever wants to come and join. And we're constantly people telling us they're interested, and like we'll take whoever we can get. It's. We've gone through years where we've had as little as 6 pipers going down the street, with retirements and stuff like that happening. Now we're up. I think we marched the parade last week with, I want to say it was 14 pipers, 14 to 15 pipers. Yeah, which is great to see. And with that comes, like I was talking about those trips before, there was a period of time where myself, Kevin McGee, and Anthony Harancic, we were making the trips for every single event that was going on around the country. And we're taking days off from work for that. And there's no pay involved. It's something we choose to do. We volunteer to do it. Now with these younger guys that have joined the band, the pressure's off of us. We could send other people to go instead of the 3 of us going every single time.
Do you have guys in the band now that came to you and never played?
Yes. Yeah. We have guys in the band that never played before, and they're thriving. They're doing great. Yeah.
So it's all like anything else. It's what you put into it, right? You're going to practice. You're going to come down.
Yeah.
And you get it.
There's something about the band too, which I've always said to people over the years, is like, you get in as a new apprentice into the trade, and you're on your job, and you have your mechanics, and you have your stewards, and your foremen, and then you have the union. You have questions related. When you're in the band, you join the band. One feeling I had is I had a group of brothers that I could go to them about questions. We had the mentoring program here. The band itself is almost as a mentoring program, in itself, and it's a really good experience for newer members getting in.
Do you remember your first performance, like in front of a group or at an event?
I remember my first performance, that aside from a parade with the band, was Joe Nolan's retirement party.
Really?
Yes.
You shitting your pants a little bit in that?
No, I never. There's something strange about the band. Like, I've never felt the nerves playing. I could be in a stadium with 30,000 people, and it never bothered me. That's just my feeling personally. People do get nervous, but I've never felt any pressure like that.
So I would assume that playing with a bigger group, like say a group the size that you had at the parade, if you're off a little bit, it probably ain't going to come out, right? As opposed to, it's 2 guys at a funeral. Yeah. Maybe you got to be on point a little bit.
Yes, you'll hear band members a lot more critical of our performances, and other people that were listening they'll be hearing what we're saying. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. We hear it, other people don't hear it.
What's like the craziest thing that ever happened at an event?
Oh, craziest thing? I mean, there's old stories from before my time. I don't know, off the top of my head, it's not so much of the crazy things that have happened. It's the crazy things that we've been invited to play at. I feel like we've been on Z100.
That's right. I remember
we did Greg T's podcast not long ago, back in March. Just different things that we've been invited to play at. That's kind of what kind of blows our mind more than anything. Is here's this band of that was started just a bunch of elevator guys, and we're getting invited to these real interesting events and things to play.
That's cool. How about your favorite? You got to have a favorite tune to play, like a go-to, and maybe one not so much that you kind of have to play that you're not too into, or maybe a little more difficult, or like what's your? All right, guys, let's go, man. This is our tune.
Yeah, there's a tune that I like that we play. It's called "At Long Last." It's a very nice, more modern sounding tune. Some of the other tunes that we don't really prefer. Like there's some tunes that we have in our repertoire that the band doesn't really play. I remember when I was still running the band, we were marching the parade and we played so many tunes. It was like, we got to play something different. And we went to a tune that we don't really play anymore. There were guys in the band that were like, what tune is that? I never even heard that one. You know, so.
If you could play as a piper at any event, like what's the Super Bowl of, like if you say, man, I would love to, for you guys as a band, not as an individual, but if you guys could go play at this, like what's that event for a piper out there?
So it's hard to,
I would assume it's over in like either Scotland or.
Yeah. So for a regular pipe band, you know, normal pipers, aside from us, it would be Scotland playing the World Championships. Years back, I played with another band. It was a competition band called Empire Pipe Band. I played in Maxville up in Canada, and it's the North American Pipe Championships. That was a great experience. You go on, and you know, there's just the best of the best bagpipers playing there. That was a lot of fun. The World Championships in Scotland, though, are the prime thing. Like, there's bands that go there every year that are grade 1 bands, even 2 and 3 bands. They go there every year. There's some bands from New York that they don't have the funds to go every year, so they'll make a trip every 3 to 5 years. They'll do fundraising, raise money and stuff like that. But that's where everybody wants to play, is the World Championships.
What time of the year is that?
It just passed in August.
In August. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I'm trying to get over there, man. I keep talking to you about making a trip to, you know, Ireland. We want to do like an Ireland, Scotland thing. And I think it's definitely on our bucket list to go over there.
Yeah, our big one as far as the elevator pipe band is the convention every 5 years is like our Super Bowl. You know, we usually plan some new music. Like the last convention in Vegas, the flare that we threw on it was the snare drums had lights on.
Oh, that's right. I saw videos of that.
When the drums were playing, it would light up. Yeah, so.
That was pretty cool. Listen, you played in a lot of other trades that got pipers, the cops, right? Fire department. What's a band that sticks out to you when you've seen them play? Like, man, these guys are on point.
The fire department has a very good band. So their band is so big that they have a parade band. Then their Gaelic Society, the Irish club for the FDNY, they have a band that goes around with them. And then they had a group of guys for years that were a competition band, and they were very, very good. The police have great bands. The Swords of Light, Local 3, that's the electricians' pipe band. They're very good as well. You know, we've played, as far as rallies go, we've joined up with Local 3 and the Carpenters. We've played together, you know, as a show of solidarity at these rallies and stuff. And there's a lot of great bands around New York.
Right. So the place in Floral Park, Plattdeutsch.
Yeah.
Right. You guys play there a lot, or you have events over there? I know you had your party there.
Yes,
your anniversary for the band.
Yes, we play there once a year. So Rock Out Cures, James Gangone runs Rock Out Cures, which is coming up on the 27th, I believe, whatever that Saturday is. And James has been great with Rock Out Cures as far as, you know, they raise money for people in need, and there's been a lot of times over the years that our members have been those members in need, those people in need. But yeah, we play there at least once a year. And it's just that place is a great space, so it was perfect for our Christmas party that year. And then we had our 20th anniversary there years ago. Part of the 20th anniversary, like, you don't really hear about people having 20th anniversary parties. It's usually 25. We still had a good number of founding members in the band, and we felt it important to have that before they were gone and retired.
That was a great party.
Yeah.
I'm going there Sunday.
Nice.
They have an Oktoberfest over there on Sunday.
Actually, I may be wrong. I think Rock Out Cures might be next Saturday, the 23rd, I think it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's good. We were trying to get James on. I think he's going to come on and promote a little bit. But now, listen, the band is awesome. They're great. Like I said, Crown Jewel of this organization. You know, we love you guys, and everywhere you go, it's real proud of you guys. But, you know, personally for you, so you recently had a child. Mm-hmm. Not too long before that, you got married.
Yep.
Recently reelected to the executive board. Mm-hmm. Came on as a instructor. Like, you're living life, man. You're like, you need to go to the craps table a little bit. You're doing well.
It's kind of funny because when I met my wife 5 years ago, we just got married last year. You know, that talk comes up where about, you know, back during those days when I first met her, I was still hanging out with my friends a lot, which I still do, but your priorities change a little bit. And she says, like, I'm never going to give a hard time about anything that has to do with work. I understand you have to make money, you have to do your job. And she came to realize that probably 90% of what I do that takes up my time has to do with work. Local 1, pipe band, board stuff, teaching now, work itself, you know. So, but it's all, you know, she understands it. She's very supportive of me, and we've had a good, it was a good year of marriage, and now we just welcomed a newborn.
How's it going with that so far?
It's great. She's
It's a game changer.
she's sleeping most nights, and every 2 or 3 nights she keeps us up through the night. And I try to stay up and help out. My wife's been very good about waking up, 2, 3 in the morning so I can sleep a little bit.
Yeah, the deal I used to have with my wife is I got to get up early in the morning during the week, so she would always get up in the middle of the night.
Right.
But I gave her the weekends.
Yes.
And I thought that was a great deal.
Yeah.
And that was terrible too, man, because I want to go. I want to try and catch up on my sleep, and I'm getting up. But listen, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
boy, what a great game changer, right? I mean, that's such a blessing, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank you.
to you guys. And I was at your wedding. That was at a golf course, right? That was at a
Woodstone Golf Club.
That was
yeah.
beautiful, man. That was a good time.
We had a great time, and it was just a beautiful day. Like, people say you don't really remember your wedding because it goes by so fast. After it was all over, the two of us sat down and were like, I remember every minute of the whole day. I really enjoyed myself.
You're 100% right. You're talking to everybody. You got to sit and you have to experience. And my wife and I did the same thing. Like your cocktail hour, right? We actually added an hour. It wasn't part of the wedding. It was like an extra hour because we wanted to do that. Right, a lot of times during a cocktail hour, the bride and the groom are taking pictures and they're doing whatever, and they miss maybe the best part of the whole wedding is the cocktail hour, being able to eat this great food and mingle with everybody. We attended our cocktail hour. We wanted to enjoy, that whole day. So I hear you, man. You want to experience this great day that you have, and I had a great time, and it was a real good time. And now you're teaching too. You're teaching for NEIEP. How's that going for so far?
It's good. The first week I was getting to know the students, whatever, and NEIEP lays it out for you what you need to teach, whatever. So that's very helpful. I had gone for some training before that with my OSHA training and stuff. So you have an idea, even just going to those classes, you have an idea of what's expected of you, and it's just funny. So I'm teaching 100, and it's we have most guys in those classes are brand new, or unless they were organized over. And first day I'm looking at them and I'm remembering my first day walking into that classroom and how you felt. And, not that they were all very respectful, but it's like, I realized while I'm talking to them that everything that I'm saying is the Bible to them right now because they don't know any better, So it's an important thing to remember while you're teaching.
It is. And it's a great time. It's a great class to teach because of that, right? They're new. They're like a big sponge. In a couple of years, and I was no different. You're like, man, I know everything now, right? So you get to that older guy, that third and fourth year guy. It is different, right? They're trying to get to the finish line, but that new guy coming in, he's like the deer in the headlights, right? He's a big sponge. You could tell him anything, he's going to believe it. You get a lot of teachers that worry about, being perfect, and they don't know. Right? They're new, right? So just go do your thing and, just, be you and everything's going to be great. But it's I've taught 100 a couple of times, and it's great having that young kid coming in because they got a couple of different paths that they can take, right? And, you got some guys that's the path I'm taking, and other guys, that's the path. But I think for most guys, can be swayed in many different directions, right? And somebody like yourself, that's a leader here, not only upstairs but in the classroom, can help keep these guys on the right path, right? Yeah. Getting them to the promised land without swaying off too much. And you start off in a good place, it makes it a little easier to end in a good place, right? So that's why we're happy to have you on. I'm so happy that you decided to. Join the group and make that 90% of work time 95% that your wife's got to deal with now.
That was part of it. Is like over the years I had wanted to, and I think
when you had the time, right?
Yeah, you had mentioned it to me, and then Phil had mentioned it as well, and I was like, yeah, I can. I was just like, I don't have a lot of time right now, and then I was like, let's just do it. Do it. It's time to do it.
It's great, man. Yeah. And then in a couple of years, it becomes part of your routine. Your routine. It's an awesome way to give back to the local.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and then you'll probably branch off into teaching other things, and it's just a great way to have an impact on the young guys and young ladies in this business,
right? On
how they're gonna go, right? Just helping them, just start off on the right foot, and a lot of it is just that teacher, man, that first teacher that resonates and says something, somebody that they respect and they see, wow, Brendan's upstairs. He's on the pipe band. I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm going to follow this guy. Maybe I'll get in the band. Right?
Yeah. We're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Pat Austin was my first teacher.
Pat Austin,
Yeah.
Mr. 86.
Yeah, he was my first teacher.
He was a
and
trip, that guy.
we worked for the same company at the time. So, and, you know, the whole thing with Clay, it was a little different when I started. You were in a full year, you know, you had,
Right.
it was, you know, you first get, it was year one, we called it. And then you had your 4 absences. Like one of these things I'm drilling into the students' heads is I had used all 4 of my absences by December. And Pat wasn't giving me any slack. He's like, you have to be here for the rest of the year now. And I was like, don't do what I did when I was in your spot, in your shoes, you know? But like you said, I'm the kind of person where whether I was doing this or doing something else, I'd always do what I needed to do to make money, support myself, my family, whatever else. Local One, what it's given me, like, you know, we have a great salary and then our retirement is top of the chain. And it makes you want to do what you can to give back to the organization, whether it's through teaching or volunteer work or rallies or committees, whatever you have to do, but it's all part of it. And this doesn't continue unless we have our members, you know, giving back, you know?
Right. And listen, you and me and everybody else, we have a vested interest in these young guys because they're the ones that are going to be paying into, you know, the fund forever. Like that guy that retires that says, frig it, I got mine. No, you don't.
Right.
That check hasn't come yet. It's the guy that's working that's still putting into the plan, right? Every hour of every day that's worked, and the stronger we can be. And I think we're in a great place. We, you know, you see it out there on the job sites, you know, where our prominence out there in the building trades. And it's, you know, I've said it, you know, ran a school for 12 years and our success, while I give a lot of credit to the apprentices doing hard work, it's on the backbone of our teachers, man. I mean, it's our teachers that, you know, we take this $1 million curriculum that NEIEP develops, spends all this time putting these things together. If you don't have the guys doing the right thing, getting it from Massachusetts, where it's developed, into these classrooms, and throw that money out the window, right? And I think all our guys do a great job.
There's something too, like there's so much at the students' disposal now compared to not, you know, I felt plenty prepared, plenty instructed, taught, whatever you want to call it when I was in school. There's so much more at our students' disposal than when I even first started. And I can imagine before, you know, years before I got into the trade, you know.
Like all the hands-on stuff that the development, right? These practical exams and, you know, now it's becoming part of the mechanics exam, right? The guy that's like, oh man, I freak out on tests. Well, guess what? Now, you know, in a few short years, that written part of the test is going to be worth like half.
Yeah.
You know, give or take a little bit, and then the practical hands-on part will be worth the other half.
Yeah, and then not only that, the continuing ed for the existing journeyman and stuff like that. I was going through that whole menu the other day, and it's like everything we need is provided to us.
It is, and we're fortunate here to have, you know, another education fund, right? Our EAT fund that's able to fill a gap sometimes with, you know, stuff with the city, with DOB stuff, or even just development classes. You know, we've talked a little bit about creating, you know, some classes that, you know, that we see a need out there, right? A troubleshooting class, or John and I created a hand safety class. We got grant money. We created a hand safety class. So, listen, education is what separates us from you know, from the non-union. That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Right. It's education. So it's you know, it's you guys that are out there teaching that are doing a great job. And like I said, I'm so glad that you came on board, and we're constantly looking for that young guy that wants to take the place of, right? Because it happens. We've lost, you know, you look back in the last 4 or 5 years, the talent that we've lost.
Yeah.
You can't, and it's, you know what, I equate it to like a maintenance man, right? You can't replace a maintenance man. It's been on a job for 30 years.
Yeah.
With a kid that just came out of the apprenticeship. I don't care how smart he is.
Yeah.
Right? Just ain't going to happen. And it's the same thing with the school.
Yeah.
You're not going to replace Mike Posey or, you know, Tim Solog is in his last semester. I'm like, how the hell do you replace?
Yeah.
As wacky as Tim is, you're not replacing that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that doesn't mean you don't reach out and grab that young guy. So, you know, the message, if they're listening, or, you know, to you, you know, you identify somebody that say, hey, Brendan, how do I give back? Well, why don't you help out at the school?
Well, I've been talking to a few guys that I think should definitely get into it. So.
I very rarely have ever turned anybody away.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, I've had to because there just wasn't a spot. You know, but, you know, sometimes you try hard enough, maybe you can find, you know, whether it's continuing ed, mechanics exam review. Now we have you know, the SST classes, all this crazy stuff that's going on that, you know, we need teachers for.
Yeah.
You know, and when you think about the hands-on that they're developing, think about in a couple of years when every semester has one.
Yeah.
Where we have to now test, you know, 500-600 guys.
Right.
Like, who's doing that?
Yeah.
And when are we doing that?
I think that that's so important too because of, you know, we didn't end up, a lot of us didn't end up here because we were, you know, rocket scientists in school. Right. That hands-on, like there's guys that stayed their entire careers as apprentices or helpers, we'll call it at that point, that could do the job of a mechanic and just not passing that test or, you know, in years past. It just hands-on, like there's people can show their worth and their abilities in different ways, and that hands-on is a huge part that they're adding in now.
It's going to help a lot of guys.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the problem, and not that it's a problem now, but as this hands-on gets developed, that kid that's done with school is having a hard time passing that test.
Right.
He's got to repeat that class to be able to take that hands-on. So that's like, oh man, I got to go back to school for a bit. What are you going to do anyway? You can only take that test one time in a year, so you might as well, bro. Yeah. You want to pass this thing or not? So, and I think it's a great thing that now that opportunity is there for some guys that finally want to, you know, put it to rest and get journeyman on that card.
Right.
You know, so it's good stuff. NEIEP is really, you know, the one thing I really like about that organization is a lot of smart people. You've been up there, right? You've seen some, you know, the people that are running the organization or the trainers that are up there. You know, it's nothing but smart people. But the one thing that they're willing to do is think outside the box and change. Yeah. Right? They're willing to change. And I'll give you one example. When we changed the recruitment, right? So we crashed twice, right? And it was, you know, it was a third-party company that crashed. Bajillion-dollar company. It just wasn't the right fit for us, right, for how we were doing it. And that second time it crashed, we got rid of them and we developed our own system, right? To where now it was the opposite.
Right.
Now it went in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Like you literally hold your breath for the amount of time it took to take 1,500 applications, right? That was in 2022, right? So you think about all the time spent up until then, and now we have this Cadillac of a recruitment program, and they're already making changes to it, right? So that to me is a proactive company or whatever you want to call them that says if we're not improving, we're going backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's what I really like about that organization. I think, you know, here too, as a union, I think we're the same way. I think we got that same attitude, you know, and it starts from the top and it trickles down to everybody else. Yeah. We just want to keep not just staying afloat, but we want to,
yeah,
right,
stay at the top of the heap.
We just, you know, steal shit, man. That's what we're doing, and it comes from, you know, guys like yourself and everybody else that's here. To just a phenomenal organization. But where's the next event for the band? Give a little plug out.
We have, I think we're playing Rock Out Cures next week. It's pretty quiet for the rest of the year, and then right now is pretty much our plan is starting for the convention next year because it's coming up already. So, are there other pipe bands out there from around the country? Like, how many other of our locals have bands? Zero.
Really?
Zero. We're the only ones in the whole entire IAWC. One member from up in Michigan, Cody Rubio. We found out that he was a drummer in pipe bands up there, and he played a few events with us now. He was down in Tampa when we played their 100th anniversary. He came for the parades this year in March. So, you know, if there's anybody playing out there around the country that wants to join in anything we're doing, they're more than welcome.
Wow, I'm surprised, but you're the only guys.
Yeah, we're the only
ones.
You're
the true rock stars of the IEC, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is great. I think in time, you know, these guys, as they, you know, the bigger locals, right, that have, you know, the more people like, you know, Chicago or LA or wherever, you guys go out there and, you know, you play the pipes, I play the pipes, you know, and then they have the makings of a band. They don't realize it, right? Yeah. Maybe they just need something, you know, a couple guys to put something together.
Toronto had spoken about it years ago. They were interested in starting up a band, and believe it or not, there's a ton of great bagpipers up in Canada. It's like another capital of bagpiping in the world, and it just nothing ever came of it. But you know, it could happen one day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's I always look forward to you guys. So you guys practice on Tuesday nights, right?
Tuesday nights.
Yeah, that's why I stay away from Tuesday nights because you guys. make a racket around it.
Sometimes there's classes going on and they'll see us walking in and they're like, oh God, you know, they're trying to learn. We try to work with whoever's having classes down here because, you know, if we see we can't make so much noise, we'll get in the back and keep things quiet. But it's a shared space here. It's everybody's union hall.
It is.
Know?
It is. But you guys, you know, red carpet's out for you guys. Nobody's gonna push you out the door. But it's all good stuff, Brendan. Listen, you know, you're a perfect guy to come on and you know, got involved upstairs. You know, you're an executive board member, right? So this is now your second term as a trustee, right?
I'm recording secretary now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You were the trustees, and
trustee.
now you're the recording secretary.
Yes, yeah.
So tomorrow night's going to be your first meeting.
My first meeting is the recording secretary.
But you've had meetings upstairs.
We have, yeah.
So how's that going for you?
That's great. Yeah, tomorrow will be my first time.
It's a different dynamic in the meeting for the recording secretary.
I have a different seat in the boardroom now.
You do.
Yeah.
You're at the head of the table, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow should be interesting for you.
Yeah.
But it's good, man.
Yeah, I'm glad, you know, in the past, Phil, when he's given his minutes from the summertime, we had 2 meetings. So I remember there's been times where Phil had like 4 meetings worth of minutes to read at the September meeting. This I only have two meetings worth of minutes, so it's not too bad.
That's good, man. You're climbing up the ladder there, bro. And I can't think of anybody I'd like seeing, you know, climb that ladder up there. I think you've done a lot of great things here. You deserve it, and I'm happy for you. But listen, man, keep rolling sevens, bro. You're living a charmed life the last couple of years, and just keep rolling. Just a great guy. Your brother too. He's a great kid, and really enjoyed him. And just keep it going, man.
Yep, thank you.
I appreciate it. So listen, anytime you guys want to come on, I know the pipe band's always this show is always open to the band, and you know, one of these days, once we get our shit and gear here, we'll go on location a little bit and get out there when you guys are playing. But thanks for coming down. I appreciate it. And you know, the message out there, like you said before, everybody out there, just work safe.
Yep, thank you.
All right, pal. Thank you.
Who's going for coffee?